Beautiful.
Everyone, we're here with Suzanne Giesemann. We're so grateful that she has taken her time to come answer our questions after we read her book, The Awakened Way. And for those of you who are watching the recording, please note that there are still books available, just a few at New Visions at 15% off. So if you want to get into this book, if you have not read it yet, I highly encourage you. I'm my second round reading it. And of course, if you have questions out there, if you guys are here, we are on the recording. So if you don't want to be on the recording, you can turn your cameras off. If you do want to ask questions directly, you can raise your hand. But please note, by doing so, you're giving us full permission to have you in the recording for sharing with other community members that are not here to watch later. So other than that, Suzanne, would you like to have any intro or anything you would like to share with us before we go into asking you questions?
I really don't. If you've read the book and you're here, then you already know my story, so I don't want to take your time to share that. Just it's fun to share heart to heart, soul to soul, and any questions you ask, I'm going to ask my team in spirit to chime in with the answers as well. So let's just do that.
All right. Well, how about you, Michelle? Michelle, do you want to go first? Do you want to get on and share your first? Where you at? Here you are. You're muted though, Michelle. Let me unmute you.
I got it. I got it. Technology. You would think I work in IT or something. Geez. So as you may know, I'm excited to finally meet you after having started reading your books after I think I read my first one 3 months ago. Listening to a million podcasts. I can totally resonate with you. I'm type A, IT, and just the way that you really explain all these practices, they just really work for me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My first question is, I got through about 75% of this book after having read the Making the Afterlife Connection. So I am familiar with some of the practices that you have in your books. And I have a Reiki table here because I've been practicing for about 15 years. So I prefer to meditate laying on my table, which is also over a crystal mat. I start off with giving myself Reiki, and then I've been going into the practice of kind of merging, and I fall asleep a lot of the times. Now, and when I do fall asleep, I start to dream. And I've asked my spirit guide to give me extreme literal messages in my dreams, and I'm just not getting literal messages at all. They're just, even my shamanic husband says, your dreams are just weird. So my question is, do the dreams, should I expect that the dreams have messages in them, or am I just asleep at that point?
What is your intention when you lie down on the table and call it meditation?
Yes. So my intention is to receive any messages from my guides, from my highest good, and or connect with loved ones that have passed.
Yes. Then I would sit up, because the reason you're falling asleep is you're so darn comfortable. And you can dream all night long, and you can set the intention when you go to sleep to get good dreams that help you. But if you're going to call it meditation, then you want to get into the optimal expanded state of consciousness to get messages, which would be the alpha state, possibly the theta state, but you're going into delta to get dreams. And so sit up so you don't fall asleep, set the intention to remain in alpha or theta, and I have some hemisync recordings that train you to the difference between the two. That's in my mediumship series. But if you notice yourself nodding off, open your eyes. You can actually learn to hold alpha state with your eyes open. It's just a very relaxed state. But if your intention is to connect with loved ones, you want to have that interactive experience with them. And so, yeah, what I just said, that should get you started just right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. By the way, are you in York, Kara?
Yes.
York? I thought so. I went to Millersville State College in Pennsylvania.
Yes, yes, we're right in New York. So yeah.
I know the area well, and you're making me hungry for whoopie pies and shoofly pie.
Yes, that's actually, that's us. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that question, Michelle. appreciate you. And I know, Michelle, I don't know if you shared this, but you had your experience with using the techniques and connecting. You immediately, she won the book at our expo, Suzanne, that we gave away. And she did the techniques and she connected with her aunt on the other side and she like messaged us immediately.
That's excellent. Hey, that's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. All right, Alexis, thank you for this question. What is the distinction between people who can connect with spirit and those who cannot? You talked in your book about thinning the veil between the alpha state and the beta state, though you also mentioned the ability to tune into spirit without meditating. So what's the distinction between people who can and cannot connect with spirit?
Okay, I'm asking that question here. There goes my lip twitch. The distinction the guides say is being able to tell the difference between your normal waking channel and the frequency channel that your guides and loved ones are on when they get through to you, when they speak to you. So that is a higher frequency. It's here and available to all of us. And that's why when we go into meditation, we shift frequencies, like holding a remote control. And many times they'll drop in on us if they notice that our energy field is coherent and they can resonate with us. So the difference is whether your field is coherent or not. So what makes our field incoherent would be our thoughts in the moment or a lifetime of thoughts that are like clouds in the blue sky that we may need to clear out so that we can hear those higher frequencies clearly.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So the next question we have is from Teal. Hi, Suzanne. It's an honor to meet with you. Thank you so much for answering our questions this evening. I greatly enjoyed the book. I have a two-part question. How did you come to be in the Navy? What was the path that led you to this career choice? And how did your Navy commander training assist you in laying the foundation, or rather fine-tune the spiritual work you do today?
Okay. I have a brother who's 14 years older. He joined the Air Force when I was 5. I thought that was the coolest lifestyle, traveling around the world and serving the country. And I said, I'm going to join the Air Force. And like I said, I was at little Millersville State College and applied for Air Force Officer Candidate School in my senior year. And they had filled their quota of women for the year. And now what am I going to do? Well, let me check out the Navy. I like the Navy's mission and all that. Well, now looking back, I know that that was all meant to be, because clearly it was a soul plan to meet my husband who was in the Navy and get married and have my stepdaughter Suzanne pass that led to this whole career. So it was all about wanting to serve my country. I was a foreign language major. I wanted to use my languages actually in the Navy, and I did. So how did that help me in my present career? Amazingly helpful in that the discipline, the time management, the dedication to service has all carried over to my current work.
I have an extension of that question. Do you find that you're being multilingual, that you've then got another access to a resource of words that may be coming from a different language that could be another interpretation from source for your mediumship?
That's an interesting question. And the answer I hope you find interesting is that information from those in spirit comes through first as a frequency, and our brain hears it and translates it into our primary language. So it doesn't matter what language those in spirit are speaking, it's going to come in as a feeling, knowing, information burst of frequencies. And then the brain says, oh, they just said, I love you. And I hear that in English. But if somebody across the veil speaks a language that I learned, I'll often hear a slew of words in their language.
Thank you. This one kind of piggybacks on that last question pertaining to potentially being in the Navy. I have a very left brain husband. Can you please share some advice how to relate to your partner when working through your awakening?
Sit down together and watch the documentary on YouTube, Messages of Hope. That's my story of how I went from the Navy commander aide to the chairman to this work here. And it has all kinds of pictures of my time in the Navy. And I've had so many people say, thank you for that video, because it really helped my left brain partner come to trust that this is real when they saw you. And then, of course, Wolf's Message is our latest documentary, which tells the same story again with absolute proof that we're souls. So just sit together and say, this is what I'm interested in. I hope that you can at least understand why I'm enjoying it and support me in following this, even if they don't go along with what you're doing.
Thank you. And then just in the chat, we are happy to have those asked and let Suzanne know that you have a question. This question is from Jane. Thank you for the question, Jane. Can you say more about the shift portion of the Bless Me method in your book? Am I to imagine the sky/space? Can you describe more what the other channel is like?
The shift has evolved as my own practice has evolved. What I teach in the book is 100% helpful and accurate and works. But because you're asking me now, as of this day, when I do this shift, I shift from guardedness, constricted human nature to complete openness, unguarded trust in the spirit world, simply being that clear blue sky and listening and watching. That's the shift. So it's disidentifying with my story, all my memories, my thoughts, my ego, everything, every thought that goes through my head is just, I just set it aside. So you can say I surrender or I set that aside. I set aside any guardedness and I shift to total openness. Here I am. Boom. And right there, there's nothing, total blank screen. And now spirit world can just impress upon you in that mind, in that pure awareness, whatever's in your greatest good, whatever matches the intention that you set it. Set it, yeah, the intention that you set when you sat to meditate.
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Jane.
Yeah.
So the next question we have, I like this one. Do spirit guides ever disagree?
I have not had that experience at all in 16 years of talking with them. They're so kind. They just say we are aligned with truth. There's nothing to disagree with. And if they don't resonate with our actions, they shower us with love and try to lovingly steer us to come into alignment with that same truth that they're living.
That's perfect. I love that. Next question is, does spiritual awakening ever plateau? And what do you do when the current practices maybe stop working?
Plateaus all the time. All the time. I've had, and that's frustrating and exciting at the same time. It's like a ramping up of how much power your body, your system, your mind can handle. You get to a certain point, and you say, "Wow, I'm getting more stuff than I used to, or I'm having more experiences, or best of all, I feel more loving towards everybody. I love the peace and the joy and the way my life is flowing." And then you just adjust, and that's the new normal. And then you'll be led down some rabbit hole or you'll have some experience and you find you've gone to a new level and then that will level off for a while. So the journey is ever onward, ever upward. It's a spiral. It's not linear at all.
I've experienced that myself, Suzanne, and I'm curious if you've experienced it this way, that the spiral, it almost feels like it could be perceived as not a contraction before a bigger expansion. Like, I'm curious if you've experienced that, like a feeling of, and then opening bigger.
Oh, but definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what's really cool is I have people that take some of my courses and then they'll come back a year later and take it again, another workshop. And they say, wow, you've really changed this workshop. And I said, no, you've changed because the material is the same. And why it's a spiral is you pick up, well, maybe you didn't pick up that piece here, but next time around, oh, now it makes sense and I'm going to pick it up. So it's just a really fun journey. I just recently went through a period of physical pain that led to 2 months of from a herniated disc that led me to explore, is there a deeper cause for this? And there was. Cleared out all kinds of bad weather, we could call it, just a lifetime of stuffing down fear, normal human situations that I didn't know how to deal with. Once I released them all, oh my goodness, am I at a different level now? And it's very exciting and fun and That's why I say, like, I'm even doing the shift differently, and yet it's still the same. So I hope you all that excites you, because no matter where you are right now, the fact that you're listening now shows that you're on the path, and onward we go.
Those of us who are book readers, which in this club we love all different types of books, and when a writer or an author presents or channels truth, I think it shines so brightly that we can only see a portion of that truth in our own evolution. And then when you evolve more, you come back, you're seeing more truth or from a different angle of truth. And that's why it always rings true. Like, that's why I read your book twice now, almost finished it twice. And I know I'm going to probably read it again. And same thing, anyone else have any other authors you felt that with? But I'm so grateful that you have that, you're channeling that for the collective too, Suzanne, and for yourself on your journey, because it is something that I've noticed that you have this that comes through. It is very helpful to continue the evolution, no matter how many years later you come pick it up again.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yes.
All right, the next question. How do we know if a painful life experience was planned before birth?
My guides just said, does it matter? Mine it for all it's worth. Yeah.
And then how, again, you guys can put more questions if you want. We have.
But hang on a sec. There's an addendum coming in here. Because anybody that says, what do you mean mine it? What do I do with this? Just like my sciatica, two months of excruciating pain. After I learned to observe the pain and deal with it without making it worse, that's when I started sitting in meditation and asking, okay, this is an opportunity to grow. What caused this? Taking Western medicine and using that at the same time as I was doing acupuncture and going to healers, and every day getting insights and listening to the dreams, Michelle, and saying, does that have a message? Oh my God, it does. And connecting the dots, and then asking, how can I take this pain and turn it into growth for myself? So that's what we mean by mining it. Yeah.
So in the book, I really love the part where you were sharing about how Susan and Odin and how it was all layering over top. And for me, as a medium myself, this was so powerful to have validation for that, because it feels like to me that spirit is always bringing itself into a container or a personality or an identity form so it can communicate with us. So do you think, and I don't know, because I think in a human brain, we think it's this or that. We always have it as small. Is
I'm
there
sorry, but
absolutely a person?
you froze right at the crux of the sentence.
Oh,
Do you
sure.
think what?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you think that the expression of spirit through Susan and through Odin, are each of those an individual consciousness as well as the collective simultaneously, like paradoxically?
Oh, yes.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
When you said that, do I think that's the expression of spirit through Susan? It's the expression of spirit as Susan and as Odin and as you asking the question. So how does spirit show up in a way that helps the person that's interacting with that being? So as I've learned from it, and it's so hard to wrap our heads around this at first. And now to me, it's all spirit. And what is your intention? It's whatever's going to be helpful and healing in our meditation, or if we're helping somebody else. So in meditation, spirit shows up as Odin, and the fact that it morphed into Susan and then back again, I thought, was this a trickster spirit? Was I duped? Was this or that? No, it was spirit showing us, as then Susan came in to say, it's all malleable. You and I and Odin and Jesus and Buddha, they're all spirit manifesting, yes, as individuated consciousness, but it's all part of one whole. Is it helpful? Is it healing? Do we grow from it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question here, and then another question from Jane. So being in the military and having your military background and being involved in consciousness research, tell us about, if you have any information about, how is our military utilizing consciousness exploration research to support anything for security? Is there absolutely any people out there that are psychic spies? Anything?
Well, I've read a lot about that in the past with the remote viewing. Many of you are probably familiar with remote viewing experiments, and they used to use that to spy on different countries. They learned it from the Russians who were spying on us. But I don't have any knowledge or awareness at all of any ongoing experiments with that. I've had zero luck even getting to speak to the groups of military people who have loved ones who passed as a medium. They just don't want to have anything to do with me. I've heard now, though, that meditation is becoming more popular as a therapy because suicide is so high. So I hope we're making inroads with meditation and consciousness, but it's not on the radar right now, to my knowledge.
But thank you. You would be an amazing Dory for when anyone who is a veteran of any sort is ready. And so
Yeah,
I have people already on my list that I've sent your way, because there's a lot of things that we can hear from a different personality or a different mouthpiece that
Yeah.
other people wouldn't be able to hear from us directly. Thank you for that answer.
I'm thinking right now, just for a total aside from the book and what we just talked about, I just had, speaking of suicide and people needing help, a beautiful friend of mine who's now one of my assistants is the subject in a video I'd love for you all to watch at some point. It's called Actual Evidence of the Afterlife. It's a full unedited reading I did for Patty, this woman I'm talking about, and her husband Dave after their daughter died. And you see the healing that takes place from them. You see them before and after the reading. And why it's so important to say unedited is because any TV medium you see, you're only going to see the great stuff, but there's no medium who's 100% accurate. I hope you'll agree with me, Kara. And so you'll see me get no's, and then they come back and you see me interviewing them later and they say, how could we not recognize that? Or now we figured that part out. And there's still parts that were probably wrong, and that's just the nature of the conversation. But the healing effect is tremendous. So Patty had a young nephew who's really suffering lately, mentally, emotionally. And she said, you need to watch this video of our reading, Actual Evidence of the Afterlife. And it changed him. I mean, just that the knowledge that we're not alone, the awareness that our loved ones who died are still with us, that's the word I want to get out to people. That's the mediumship piece of all of this. But it's so much more than that, isn't it? Once you've read The Awakened Way, that's just one path to coming to know who we are as souls, and what information and access and guidance and love we have access to. That's the real bottom line for me.
I did share in the chat, everyone. I just Googled actual evidence of the afterlife. This is a YouTube video that I have on your YouTube channel on YouTube, because you do awesome stuff on there. And I also shared Suzanne's website in there too. And then also the podcast episode that we did with Suzanne, if you didn't check that out. So those are in the chat right now. And we have 2 more questions we're going to get through for our next 6 minutes here.
We can go
Do
over
you
if
know
you
if
want.
Okay, okay.
I don't want to take up
Thank
everybody
you.
else's time, but we can stay here a little
We'll be
bit
here with
more.
the club till 5, because we usually then discuss and chat together about what we experienced.
Oh,
So.
good, good.
Do you guys know? And I feel like this is a great question, Jane, because I have a inkling that Suzanne has resources for her amazing people. I think you have an app as well. But it says, do you know if groups of folks following the Awakened Way?
I'm sorry, Kara. Once again, all I heard was, do you know?
Oh, thank you so much for telling me. Jane, this is a great question. Do you know if groups of folks following the Awakened Way are gathering in person to enhance the efforts to live in love, practice together, and learn?
Well, I actually lived in the Villages, Florida for 11 years, and they have over 2,000 clubs and organization, and they now have an official The Awakened Way Club, which is really cool. That's the only official one I know of, but there are groups all over the world of students of people who've been students of mine in my online or in-person courses, and they started meeting weekly online. and they sit and they tune into spirit, or they talk about what they've experienced the past week. And I have people come up to me when I do new events, or they come on cruises with me, and they say, look, I'm with my friends. We met 4 years ago or 10 years ago in one of your classes, and we're finally meeting in person because we meet online, and or we're best friends now. It's really beautiful. That's why we call it a community, the Awaken Way community. And by the way, you mentioned the app. I do have a free app, Awaken Way app, where the daily messages I get from Spirit show up in your phone every day. Free.
And that's available on your website, correct?
Or just on any smartphone. Yeah.
Just look up the Awakened Way on your smartphone. Oh, thank you
Yeah.
for your app. Alexis says they love the app. They're totally into the app. Okay, and then so also just briefly, Jane and everyone else here, our online space, if you are joining from our website today and you got the link to join for Zoom, just so everyone knows, we have an online community called the Conscious Connections Club, and we meet weekly. The book club's part of it. We eat out, we have game night. And if you guys are really like going forth, we're all about self-development and empowerment with all these different authors. And if you guys want to start a group on the Mighty Networks, that's just based on the Awakened Way, and there's enough people that want to do it, we can totally start a space you guys can discuss. You can set up Zooms and connect. You can meet in person at New Visions. We totally are here. This is what we're about, community. So if you're first time joining the book club just because you saw that Suzanne's here, like, just so you know, this is a regular thing. Yeah, I love Jane. Thank you for your amazing like passion and excitement there. I see
I
you.
can feel that.
Yeah. All right, next question. What would you say to people who worried that they will not become aware of or accomplish what their soul incarnated to accomplish? Good question.
Wow, that is a good one. Never heard that one. Oh, nice. How much are you able to love yourself and someone else? If you've loved only one other person, you've accomplished your soul's goal. Your soul came here to shine, and we receive the life force through us moment by moment, and that's love. And our goal is to give as good as we get. And if you're doing that, you're on purpose. It's that simple. So then after that, what's your passion? What do you feel is your calling? If you can add that to how much you're shining your love and your light on the world, that's like extra credit. And that's it.
Thank you. I love that. I love that question, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you to your guides and to you for bringing that forward. Two
Yeah.
more questions, guys. So thank you for your questions in the chat. Again, thank you everyone for being here and those watching the recording. As you awaken, did you have a specific practice for discernment of spirit when channeling that helped you gain the most confidence in your practice?
Well, when I speak of channeling, that's when I get out of the way and let the guides speak through me. Mediumship is not really channeling unless I completely let the spirit merge with me and let them speak straight through. A practice of discernment, I could just tell it was not me. And it hasn't changed. Their messages have not changed at all. And so I trust that. When I get in that expanded state that trusts enough to really surrender, then what's come through, that was the discernment enough. Once I start talking, this is my guide, Sanaya. Doing a reading, however, the discernment comes with everything that comes through. And I have a new method that I'm teaching now. I have a course online. I've just finished it. It's called The Forgotten Center. I have a live one coming up with the Shift Network where I'm really incorporating this new method called the Hara method of testing everything in the Hara, the belly, the lower awareness center. This is the teaching that came out of my recent physical challenges. It's really a game changer to really feel, is this anchored here? Is this strength that comes with it? But it also comes with practice, that discernment. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And those of you, go to Suzanne's website if you want to look into you said about the Shift Network and where you're offering that. And we can talk about that after Suzanne's gone too. I think this is a really good question. I'd love for the community to share their own guidance on what they've learned through discernment on their own spiritual practice, because I think it's a really foundational thing. And like you said, Suzanne, I think practice really is so important, but I love you're offering tools to really anchor into the body so you can overcome maybe the fear that you're not on the right channel or something, because I think fear is just not the right channel in general, or the right channel. It's a channel of distortion potentially.
Well, the body is the tool really, because we feel we have to go up and out and get all spacey and, oh, I'm getting an answer here. But that could be your mind, that could be not what you're looking for. But when you use the body and anchor what you're getting in the belly and the heart, you can feel, is it open, is it solid, or is there tension? So it is a practice, but the way you learn it is when you get feedback from somebody in a reading, that's not correct. Well, how did that feel to me? And that's actually something I thought was true is not true. Now, how does something that's true feel? So that's why the practice is important. You have to be willing to be wrong, and then you start to say, now, why was it wrong? Yeah, it's interesting.
I love the answer. I love it. Hands down. It's amazing. Well, thank you for that. 100%. Last question here from Haley. Thank you again for this, Haley. Can you share more information about the doorway to freedom that you mentioned in the book? And she says, I also use the app too and love the app.
I don't recognize that term. Doorway to freedom. If you have it on Kindle, anybody, look it up real quick. Type in Doorway to Freedom, because that does not sound like anything
You
I
want
read.
to clarify, Haley?
Sure, it's in the getting to know your true nature portion of your book, and you just talk about, it says, in the meantime, set the intention to notice when concepts you have learned from other humans no longer resonate within your heart. Investigate what makes you uncomfortable, and in that moment of awareness, may you discover the doorway to freedom.
How about that? I wonder if I
I
was channeling it.
circled it.
Yeah, I wonder if I was channeling as I wrote, because it's not anything that I remember thinking. Isn't that interesting? The doorway to freedom is the difference between, as I said before, constricted and restricted self that feels separate. And so when we open this door, the walls that we've put up, right? And we just say, here I am, spirit. I realize I'm both human and a soul. That's total freedom, because now you know you're not separate. You can still be yourself as the story, the role you're playing, but you just realize you're connected. You don't have to please anyone, because you know that when you're aligned with the soul, your actions are going to come from a place of love. They're not going to come from a place of lack or fear. That's freedom. You're not going to do things to please other people because you're worried about what they're thinking, because you're afraid of anything that we humans usually are afraid of, which is so restricting and so freeing to just listen to spirit, let them guide you and follow what they say. Even if they don't use words, it's just in your heart. You just know the right next step. That's freedom. I wish that for everybody.
Thank you, though. I think your work and what you've offered and continue to offer is amazing, helping us to continue to find that.
Well,
I think when you get a taste of freedom, you just want to continue to expand into it more.
oh my gosh, yes. It's stunning how you start to see it every moment in your life, and you say, wow, I caught myself from reacting the way I used to, and I just was calm, or I didn't react to that person, or I just sent them love instead of fighting back. It's total freedom. So that's the goal here. That's why I say that mediumship is one path to it. There are many paths to that, but freedom is the goal. Freedom from the story. And I'll just leave you with, besides my gratitude for coming out today, one of my favorite prayers is, forgive me for ever thinking I was anything less than love. Because when we forget that, that's when we do things that hurt ourselves, that hurt others, that cause separation. And it's easy to forget because the door is shut so often. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone that you're going to stick around, but everyone in the recording, please check out the links that we're going to put below the recording, because you won't be able to see the chat later, for your website, where information about your app, the YouTube link, and I'll put anything else in it that we can get directly easy connected to you and your social media stuff. But thank you so much for being
A
here with
joy.
us. Have a
Total
wonderful
joy.
holiday, and
All right.
yeah, thanks for your
All
time.
right. Love to all of you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to stop the recording. And this is where